Alvarez getting loose, getting better here in this round, though.
Oh, man.
Until that.
Considered by many to be the face of mixed martial arts around the world, Conor McGregor has brought many wandering eyes to the sport by being the controversial figure that he is. And while he might not be regarded as the greatest of role models, there's no doubt that the illustrious fighter has worked hard to earn more cash than the majority of us can even imagine. But what does someone like Conor McGregor spend his money on? And how much is the former UFC champion estimated to be worth at the moment? Well, whether you're a fan of the man or just want to know as much as possible about the face of MMA, you've come to the right place, as we're about to explore everything there is to know about the one and only Conor McGregor. So strap yourselves in and get ready for a bumpy ride, as things are about to get interesting. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we post. A little more about Conor. Conor Anthony McGregor was born in Dublin, Ireland on July 14, 1988, making him only 32 years old right now. Having been raised in the small community of Crumlin by his father, Tony, and mother, Margaret, Conor was sent to an Irish language school by the name of Gaelscoil Scoil Maloga throughout his primary years. He then spent his secondary years at another Irish language school in Tallaght, which is where he developed a passion for football, even playing in Lord's Celtic Football Club at a later stage. He also started to learn how to box from the age of 12 at the Crumlin Boxing Club as a way to defend himself against bullies and raise his self-confidence. It was in 2006 that Conor's parents moved him to Lucan, Dublin, which is where he decided to commence a plumbing apprenticeship. While exploring Lucan, Conor ended up meeting future UFC fighter Tom Egan. Discovering that the two loved to fight, they began to train in mixed martial arts together, allowing Conor to learn enough to make his amateur MMA debut in February of 2007. His debut match was against Kieran Campbell for the Irish Ring of Truth promotion in Dublin, which was bringing in quite a bit of views at the time. And like the Conor we all came to know, it only took one round to pound Campbell into a technical knockout. It took only this fight for those on the professional circuit to pay attention to Conor, who was signed by the Irish Cage of Truth promotion days later. In 2008, he started to train hard at the Straight Blast Gym, otherwise known as SBG, in Dublin under John Kavanagh. Conor's first professional MMA bout came in March of 2008, where he was placed in the lightweight category and set to face Gary Morris. Conor defeated him in the second round of the match by technical knockout. He then took a bit of a test by going up against submission specialist Antramij Saitenkov in the featherweight division. He lost this featherweight debut of his, which caused him to second-guess the career path that he had chosen for himself. It was apparently his mother, Margaret, who ensured that he stuck with his passion and continued with MMA. Fully invigorated once more, Conor spent a lot of his career moving between the lightweight and featherweight division, essentially resulting in an 8-fight win streak which culminated in him becoming both the CWFC featherweight and lightweight champion. Better yet, he was the first European professional MMA fighter to hold both titles simultaneously. In a fit of luck for McGregor, president of the UFC, Dana White, was due in Dublin to accept an award from Trinity College. While there, he met with Conor and ended up signing him to the UFC only days later. This caused McGregor to become only the second Irish fighter to compete for the company, his fellow team member Tom Egan being the first. McGregor performed well under pressure when it came to his debut UFC match against Marcus Brimage, who was inadvertently knocked out in the first round of the bout. Conor also ended up winning the Knockout of the Night award for his performance of the day. Because of his knockout potential and consistently earned Performance of the Night awards, Conor began to mean big money when it came to the UFC. With his charismatic personality and big mouth often bringing a huge number of viewers to each of his bouts, crowds roared in anticipation when McGregor was announced to face Jose Aldo for the featherweight championship, whom Conor knocked out only 13 seconds into the first round of the bout. Coming from an 18-fight winning streak, Conor made this one more and claimed the championship, once more being given the Performance of the Night award and marking his finish as the fastest knockout in UFC history at that point. McGregor also made history again in 2017 when, after fighting the lightweight championship at the UFC 205, he announced that he would be taking on Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match clearly outside of his style. The match ended up going in the favor of Mayweather, who caused McGregor McGregor to bow out via technical knockout in the 10th round. But with the amount of money McGregor had earned from the match, it didn't matter that he had lost. From that day on, the fighter decided to dedicate more time to his family, with fans only really hearing about him because of a few controversial things he had done in the public eye. His net worth. By being one of the most lucrative sports stars that Ireland has ever produced, McGregor's net worth is raised each and every year. And you'd be mistaken if you thought his extreme wealth only came from his brilliance in the octagon. He also dabbles in the business world, and has his own suit collection by the name of August McGregor. The star also runs a lucrative alcohol company. In fact, Forbes magazine has ranked McGregor as 16th in its world highest paid athletes of 2020 list, showing his estimated net worth to be around 120 million euros. To those American fans out there, that's over $142.8 million. But with money like that in his pocket, what does Conor McGregor spend his cash on? His training. Being a top-tiered athlete, Conor needs to constantly ensure that his body is in tip-top physical condition. This is especially relevant when it comes to fighting in the UFC, with McGregor nowadays being challenged by fighters who are half his age. As such, he spends as much money as is necessary to make sure that he is always ready to throw it down when he needs to. This includes everything from controlled resistance running in the pool to high-quality gym equipment, which he can use at his own leisure. And it's not just equipment and facilities, which McGregor spends his money on to ensure that his bodily needs are taken care of. He also has a number of personal trainers and mixed martial artists in his employ, who motivate him and make sure that he isn't being too easy or hard on himself. Food also comes into play here, with Conor being able to afford the best chefs that money can buy, as well as nutritionists to suggest what food he should be taking in. His fashion. Although Conor McGregor is a beast in the octagon, he considers himself to have a refined and expensive taste when it comes to fashion. He does own his own suit line after all, and when you own a clothing line, you need to make sure that you always look like $1,000,000. In order to reflect this wealthy status of his, he can often be seen wearing various designer brands and massive fur coats. In his own words, fashion is something that I'm truly passionate about, and I'm excited to share precisely that with my fans by giving them a chance to share my iconic looks. Take one look inside a Prada or Dolce & Gabbana catalog, and you'll see exactly how expensive these designer clothes and three-piece suits can be, which makes you wonder just how much money Conor has spent on his fashion in the years that he has been competing on the circuit. What we do know is that his most expensive outfit, when worn together, comes in at a whopping $150,000 US, which is an insane amount of money to have on your back. There's no doubt that Conor has spent a lot on clothing, but if it's one of his passions and he really enjoys the feeling of dressing up, then why not do it? Let's be honest, he definitely has the money for it. His taste in cars. Being a bit of a gearhead himself, Conor McGregor started a car collection when he came down to the United States. Not only did he need something to get him from A to B, he also wanted to arrive in style, turning heads whenever he rolled up at the places he needed to be. And when you're wealthy, the only thing better than having an incredible vehicle at your disposal is having multiple, which is precisely what Conor decided to go for. He has a grand total of 3 limited edition Lamborghinis, a custom Rolls-Royce Ghost, a Rolls-Royce Phantom Drophead Coupe, a BMW, multiple Range Rovers, and many more. In total, sources have said that McGregor has around 20 cars sitting at home, showing just how much he loves having the need for speed. And since both Rolls-Royce vehicles come in at a whopping $800,000 US, you can just imagine how expensive all 20 of his other vehicles must add up to. Suffice it to say, we're looking for an amount in the millions, leaving McGregor spoilt for choice when it comes to what he wants to drive on a specific day, his other means of transportation. And if you thought that his cars were the most expensive means of transportation that Conor has at his disposal, you'd be dead wrong. The Irish UFC fighter ended up purchasing a luxury yacht for himself for around $3.4 million, and likes to on occasion take it out to sea for a nice relaxing time away from the prying paparazzi. He ended up calling this yacht of his the 188, which is the amount of money he would earn from cashing his welfare checks back in Dublin when he was living under the breadline. Talk about a success story. And like the other incredibly wealthy celebrities who preferred to relax before going international, Conor McGregor also decided to buy himself a private jet so that he could take trips overseas without having to deal with being ambushed by fans and paparazzi alike. And while we have no idea how expensive this purchase could have been, with private jets costing different amounts based on whether they are new or secondhand, there's no doubt that Conor forked out quite a bit. So what do you think of the lifestyle of Conor McGregor? Feel free to let us know in the comments section down below.